Hello, I am Yashi and you are watching MSTV. Today I welcome you on Rubaroo and we have a very special guest with us. Dr. Abdul Dewale Mohammed Sir is with us, the founder and group executive president of Africa Asia Scholars Global Network. Sir, we welcome you.
Thank you.
Sir, first of all, I would like you to tell about the global network of yours.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be in the Marwah studio uh, once again. The Africa Asia Scholars Global Network was set up, was an idea, concept that came up in 2010. I've realized that we in the world do not care about children. And the fact that developing countries are not really being very prosperous as expected or unified, I thought that it was important to bring Africa, Asia, countries to collaborate. This is an idea that's probably started in 1955 when we had the Asia Africa Conference in Bandung, Indonesia. The leaders like Jawa Nehru of India, Nasser of Egypt, Eli from China, we had Sri Lanka involved, and also President Nkrumah from Ghana. They all met in Bandung 55 years ago. That was in 1955. And not only for political independence, but economic dependence of developing countries. But down the line, by 2010, I got the knowledge of the fact that the civil society generally are not being carried along with the various governments. And
Yes.
so even 99.9% of universities in all the global south developing countries
Hmm.
never try to educate
Hmm.
or enlighten the young people
Hmm.
that their leaders have tried to come together to ensure that they have economic stability within developing countries. And that was why we decided let's have the Africa Asia Scholars Global Network. And this was in 2010. So the
Okay.
journey is about 15 years. By last year, we were able to try and bring together all universities in the global south, 134 countries.
Okay.
And that's been done. Uh, we've gone through intensive research to see why society is failing on education.
Hmm.
Most importantly was that in 2018, the World Economic Forum itself, which is based in Switzerland, they had
Okay.
their 46th conference.
Okay.
And they had a woman to co-schedule of the event in 2018 January in Davos.
Hmm.
And that was when they declared that the world is fractured. And so we find that there's another level which there are things to be done. This is the World Economic Forum, which drives the policy of the world.
Hmm.
Even then, Donald Trump was the president, I had the largest delegate to that conference. And I felt, what do we do as an organization?
Hmm.
So we called for a meeting with the UN women. Since the World Economic Forum see the importance of women, which we also appreciate because women have great potentials.
Yes.
So what we did then was to call for a meeting with the UN women in New York. So 19th of July 2018, we had a meeting right there, UN in New York, to see how women can, because women have great potentials and there's a lot they can do to change the scheme of things in this world. So we had that meeting, but however, we then established what is called the Global South Economic Forum.
Yes.
So that because we don't see the impact of the World Forum on the developing countries, so we had to
Hmm.
create that. And by and large, we also found there's no structures within a so-called developing country which has the greatest resources in the world,
Hmm.
but yet is so much, what would I call it, disadvantaged or deserved. So we felt it was important to create structures because there was no structures. And all we do is to depend more on the Western culture, the West itself.
Yes.
Even though I know that in the West, the Asians have not been so much taking the culture of the West like Africa has done. And that's probably why Africa is a bit down
Hmm.
than being able to meet with the counterpart in Asian countries.
Hmm.
So that's why we then, ever since, because we know that whatever idea, whatever mindset we're trying to change, without that structure, there's no
Very true.
way we can be able to improve or get sustainability for developing countries. So the structure now has been done, it's been built. So, and this relates to what we did last year, which is July Mandela Day at the
Okay.
House of Lords in London at the
Hmm.
Parliament. We're able to at least let the world know that we now have not just a structure for universities,
Hmm.
but also we have all engineers across the 134 countries called the Global South Engineers Association, We also have the Global South Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines, and Agriculture. So
Yes.
these structures now have been created. And I'm very glad to have people of eminent people who are well known in the area of education. I'll give you an example. For the Global South University Association, we have the Secretary of the Association of Arab Universities,
Yes.
Professor Zat Salama, who is now the president of the Global South University Association. While we have also a Director General there, who she's from Bahamas, founder of CEO Network. And for the engineers, we have engineer Jassim Al Jolo, who is a former president of the Qatar Society of Engineers, and he is also the current president of Federation of Global Engineers, and he's now the president of the Global South Engineers Association. And the director general is Dr. Engineer Abdul, who is also the chairman of all Indian engineers in Qatar. So he takes the manful of that, the director general of the
Hmm.
Global South Engineers. And we also have the Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines, and Agriculture, which has been
Okay.
president is Dr. Vijay Kalantri, who is the current chairman of the World Trade Center in Mumbai and also the president of all Indian industries. So he
Very
means that.
nice.
And while we have his director general as a former president of the Pan African Chamber of Commerce, Nana Agwaye, who is based in Ghana, he was one of the architects of the Africa Free Trade Center in Ghana, and he
Okay.
was also president of Ghana Chamber of. So we've got people out there. What we're doing as an
Basically, it's a
organization,
teamwork, we can
yeah,
say.
yeah,
It's a
because
teamwork.
what we're doing in an organization now
Yes.
is that we want to see something is coming, is changing now in our world.
Very
You
true.
see, there's so many problems that we've had through, and I know I'm a restless person because I wonder why we don't care about children.
Hmm.
Because people who are 50, 60, 70, they will tell you their life was better when they were younger.
Yes.
So I kind of wonder if you're saying that, what little are you contributing to make that change? So
Hmm.
we're all faulty in this regard where we have not given, you might say you're giving education, you're giving knowledge, but we don't give wisdom to our young
Hmm.
people. That's
Yes.
one of the problem we have. Most of them even know what the future is. But however, like I said, whatever we have set up since 19 to
Hmm.
15 years ago, I always say it very loudly. I might not even see the change during my lifetime. But what we're trying to
Okay.
do is to plant a new seed now. With this structure we created now, is plant a new seed.
Sir, I would like to ask one question
Yeah, go
related
on.
to your journey. As you talked about the long journey. So, you must have faced some challenges during that journey. Kindly tell about that.
You've been smart. Asking me that is where I go very emotional
Oh.
because I just had a meeting yesterday with the Secretary General of the Asia Africa Rural Development
Hmm.
Associate Organization (ADO),
Okay.
and I want to use this opportunity to really appreciate understanding the need for what has been missing in our world, where people will say government, but we fail to know understand that the civil society itself is government.
Hmm.
We only elect people to go and represent us. And the more government and people, society don't really relate together, we can never ever achieve anything. And I take you one thing because I'm a signature United Nations Global Compact. We've been we write we send proposals to government, United Nations. We don't take these things up as very important. And I tell you what is that the UN, we are doing the best we can to make change things because we only have about 5 more years to 2030, less than that, for this SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals.
Hmm.
And when in 2013, the UN had a high level panel. And that high level panel were three leaders there, which is my former Prime Minister, David Cameron,
Hmm.
from the UK. We had the president of Indonesia, and also we had the Liberian president. They were the three key leaders of the what do you call it to review because we had IM Millennium Development Goals was came up in 2000 to 2015.
Hmm.
Now that 2015, we saw that then at that 2015, which means the UN has to give us a scorecard of achievement. And that 2013, they felt let's bring these leaders together, come up with something, an idea that UN can carry forward for SDGs.
Hmm.
And at that meeting in Bali, the leaders said, renewed global partnership, people centered policies. We had the idea that the UN would now try to make sure that those 2 points can become the foundation of the Sustainable Development Goals. But unfortunately, we come up with 17 goals. Some of the 17 goals are overlapping. And we've said it. Everybody's talking SDGs without even understanding SDGs. And that's why we've gone, we only 5 more years out of how many years? 2015 to 2030. So 5 more years, we've not scored even up to 25% of the SDGs, which is unfortunate. That's a failure on the part of leadership. So what we're saying is that the only way which we feel is what we are doing now, there are good people there. There are good people doing great things out there. So what we're doing is to look for them, because a lot of people have been frustrated with the system. So we want to look for them and see how we can. You see, the major thing, the problem is this: in the UN General Assembly, every year, every leader comes to a time. So the president of General Assembly, if you take note, look at the records, they always say, "I will build trust." Under the UN, but finally, we are not building trust. If we can't trust each other, which means we don't understand humanity itself. We're supposed to work together. Without working together, we can never achieve anything. But unfortunately, people don't really see that it's important to support each other. It's like, oh, if you go to a meeting now and they say you're partners, people really come there to bring their ideas. No, they want to take ideas out because they feel insecure.
Yes.
So everybody's what about my survival? So these are the issues we've seen until we start understanding humanity, which is lost in our education completely. Because in the West now, ethics are no longer there. So, but in the global South, there's still a bit of ethics and morals. So, and I believe that the West can also learn that from the global South. So we are trying to revamp the whole way of education, our mindset, our thinking, because we can't continue the way we're doing. Let me give you an example. Every country talks about building smart city. And I sort of wonder, if you go to Maryland, if you go to Washington, D.C. in the States, in the morning, see people coming from Maryland, piles of people coming to the city. And in the evening, you see them like the slaves. They can't afford to live in the city where they work because they can't afford it.
Yes.
But the government leaves completely the rural areas. And all resources of every part of the country in the world comes from the rural communities. But our mindset, particularly in Africa, in Asia, whatever, is that farming is not the best feature. Whereas if you do farming, because when you have food security, everything is fine. But we leave the rural areas where all the resources are, where the mining,
Yes.
everything is, where everybody wants to come to the city. So that mindset I can understand when we talk about leadership. In my country, there in New York, in the United Kingdom, we have in London, we have, sometimes you call London the financial capital of the world, sometimes you call New York financial capital of the world. But why is it the government comes and they say there's a recession? We have people in good job, yet they go to food bank. So there is a problem about managing people. Leadership there is something wrong. But also too, all of us get busy blaming leaders, blaming this, blaming that. But we forget that is the way I think it's the way we were developed as children. So our job in my organization, the Africa Asia Scholars Global Network, with this global South Economic Forum, we know that our job is still, now that we've created a structure, all we're trying to do now is that if we already have the mindset of the leaders in education, and then we can now turn back to child development. The way we were come up, and I come quickly so that on the child development, is say treat every child differently.
Yes.
Because children are children, but they come from different backgrounds. They have different way of understanding. They have different way of doing things. So all we need to do is to respect that some children are autistic. So when you say something autistic, some people can memorize. But if you want to pass an exam, you have to memorize through the system. So what we do now is we set the same exam for all those children. Why? Because the system knows that at least 1/3 of them will fail. Thereby, those will be your drivers, your cooks, your gardeners. Not that they're not creative, innovative, but because that the system has created them that level, that class. Some who are very good memorizing, they go on, they move on. Then the question is this: not every child that system fails can go to their parents and say, "I'm a failure." And so what happens? And then not every child that is failed through that system will want to be seen as inferior to the classmate. So they start to cheat in the classroom. And they not see it as a norm. And then by the time they grow into a position of power, that's how we create what is called institutional corruption.
Very true. Very
So
true.
when we now spend billions fighting cybercrime, we created the monsters. I've always said one thing: no child was born to be a vagabond. No child was born to be a miscreant. No child was born to be, what would I call it, to be bad in society. I won't come to level say No child was born to be a prostitute, but society turned them to what they are.
Very
We
true.
create these things we call, and then what we're saying is this: because we fail to understand the child development. You don't teach a child how to walk. You don't teach a child how to talk. But imagine when a child start talking, you'll be surprised what comes. It's like a chip in the head.
Yes.
So when you don't train a child how to walk, or so you have to, and then every child has a hobby. A child was born to be a blessing to society.
Yes.
But society turned that child against. And I always say one thing when I talk to university students: no matter what courses you're studying or you want to come out with, remember your hobby.
Very true,
We
sir.
all have our
Very true.
hobbies, but we feel as parents to try to understand that interest of that child, because your hobby never stress you.
Yes.
But because people have to, "Oh, I have to survive, about whatever," so people do things sometimes that give them stress. So if we can understand the hobbies of our children, and I give you an example.
Yes.
Every child, if you look at it, issue of sports, in the child when you have kindergarten, and then they do sports day, and then they start seeing the ones that are very good, then that's how they start giving them a coach. As they grow up into from what they call it, to professional, they always have a coach. And if you look at a child of 14 who has been involved in sports, if you see the level of intellect or understanding is quite different, because he's been interacting, socialized, whatever, through the sports than a child. So what I say is that it's not every child that likes sports, but there are other things they like. So we don't create a coach for them.
Yes.
We now want to tell them, oh, you must be this, you must be that. And that is part of failure of child development. And also see a difference between the parents and the teachers. There's so much different. There's so much distance from the parents. I think about a couple of weeks ago, I think for about 2 months in UK, I think part of the country, you find that there was a higher percentage of teachers who are being abused by parents. So when parents abuse teachers, what respect do you have teachers? And even at the fact there was a time when teachers were asking for more money. And the government, I think that was the past government, if I remember. And then they said, the prime minister then said there was no money. And I was like, excuse me? Teachers are asking for money, you say there's no money. It's not for the teachers, it's the future of the state, the child, that you are denying the proper education for growth. Let me also go back while we are looking at the possibility of changing the format of education. Before, we used to tell children, you must go to university. So when a child applies to university, doesn't get that, he feels sort of, oh my God, this is a loss for me, and say wanted to take his exams so that he can be able to get university. And if he decide to go to a technical school, he feel a bit withdrawn just to go to tech. But today, it's not about your academic experience; it's about skills. So for long, we've not helped children to understand what they really love, what they really is what we should help them to have that passion. And I did something in England where I was training ex-offenders,
Okay.
lone parents, refugees on plumbing, electrical, painting, decorating, because there are so many old properties in England, so they will always have a job. They can be independent. At the same time, when you teach a child, I can also talk to Suda University, is that you go to your communities, go and find out, ask them the things they don't like, things they like but they think that needs improvement. Ask them about the needs of that community. Come back to your campus, sit in groups. Ask yourself, how can you develop and make the community better? In that process, you come with ideas, and you give us those ideas, we'll get you funding. So by the time you come out of university, you got a job. And one of the things is the way education is that we do not train people to become entrepreneurs. We train them to all look for jobs. We don't train them how to management of people. You don't train how to manage their finance. So when you have courses that does not give you that, it limits the level of your children as a elder. So that is part of the. So we've seen all this, and no one organization can do anything and achieve. It is in collaboration and partnership. But first set up a structure, have the mindset. But I'm glad to say today we have what is called the Global South University Association. We have the
Yes.
Global South Chambers of Commerce Industry, and we have Global South Engineers. So these transitions now are going to change things. But while we have a lot of challenge, the president of the World Bank, Ajay Banga, he said it very clearly that the financial, even the Secretary of the United Nations, the global financial sector is unfair to developing countries. We want to see how we can be able to ensure that
Yes.
appropriate funding, even when it comes to countries of the West and the countries of the global South, which some of you will call third world, which we should not be calling third world because it's the largest in the world. We're 88% population of the world. We have the greatest resource in the world. So why could call you third country, third
Yes.
world country? So that has to be changed. But we are looking at for the appropriate possibility of getting things done. I'm very happy that we're engaging with quite some non-governmental organizations like
Yes.
the Africa Development Bank. We're getting in touch closely to
That's a
World Development
great
and
work,
quite a
sir.
lot of them
That's
to
a
see
great
how
work.
we can work in
Hmm.
partnership. So,
Yes.
and also we've written to the new current chairman of the G77 at the UN. This 77 is the largest group within the UN. So we need to change this around because whatever happens, even in the West, will affect the global side. Whatever happens in the global side will affect the world. It's one world. So there's a lot we're trying to do, and we believe the media can do a lot because media itself is the fourth estate of the rim, and media is not doing enough. So we're all sort of so when you see people who are not doing the right thing, whatever, it's society that moves them the way they are because
Yes.
that's the mindset. So we need to change
That
things around
mindset.
to start realizing that it's
Yes.
important that we do partnership. So
Hmm.
we want to see for the SDGs to be achieved to a level by 2030. What we're trying to do is, or to tell United Nations and other groups that are interested
Hmm.
in the future of the society, is to try and look at partnerships who are working.
Hmm.
There are quite few, but we can increase them. Partnerships that are working well, so that when you see them they're working well, people can now start having trust in themselves
Hmm.
that the more we work together, the better for us. I'll give you an example now. In not too long, we have the University of Greenwich, University of Kent, they match.
Hmm.
And during my research to find out why they match, is because there are a lot of problems. Education has changed completely.
Hmm.
Now, what do you want a professor to teach you that
Yes.
is not on internet?
Hmm.
It's right there. So a lot of young people are going to lose their jobs.
Hmm.
So we have to change the narrative about education now. So that's where we have to start looking for people that can really add value to education that is appropriate, that can make, that can turn things around, because we've got everything in the world. The
Very
point is
true.
that, ask a question.
So,
If you were to close your, stop breathing
yes.
for 1 minute, what's going to happen? So if we have to pay for the air that we breathe,
Hmm.
we'll be fighting each other.
Hmm.
Everybody dead. But we have it free. Look at the land, sun, rain, everything, but we don't use it
Hmm.
to make sure there's food. Look at ordinary the fight in Ukraine. Your wheat, it's
Yes.
affected even India.
Hmm.
So I don't. You say there are policies, and what we say says the UN Secretary General said some years back.
Hmm.
He said there's no sustainable structures.
Yeah.
100% we agree, and that is probably what led to our fractured world. So we said, okay, policies do affect all this.
Hmm.
So we came over to 3 area. I think 2013, I got in touch with Vietnam, if I'm right. And we got this university, and then on agriculture, and then they got their government involved, and we talked the level where we now have a new different policy. Now like we met with the ADO yesterday,
Hmm.
Asia Africa Rural Development, which they do a lot of agriculture in many countries.
Hmm.
It's a
Hmm.
government organization, and we're looking at what we can now do. How they also have been doing great work,
Hmm.
and we have what is called a smart village.
Hmm.
So the smart village is part of we here as Asgon organization and Global South. We have been able to improve the lives of about 1,200 farmers here in
Hmm.
India, and we're giving a lot of 600 different programs we're giving to them, and we help like giving you drone, giving you technical technology and understanding to be able to get your farm to be more, what do you call it, modernized, our farming is. So we it's part of what we're doing. Also last year, 25th of March, right there at the press club in Delhi, Dr. Marwah, who is the president and founder of AFCT
Hmm.
in AFT University here in Noida, also was with us at
Okay.
the press club in Delhi, and we launched 10,000 scholarships from Indian universities here for Africa. Because when you talk about technology, I mean, it's amazing that children of
Yes.
India. Because if you go to New York or any part of the United States, you talk about a technology company, you always find that the CEO is an Indian. So we
Very
believe the
true.
Indian can impart a lot. And let me also use this to say that I commend Prime Minister Modi. He's been doing a great job to ensure that this global south can be stronger, can be unified. But
Very
there's still
true.
a lot to be done in the sense that, and I want to commend him that he ensured that Africa joined the G20 when they hosted the G20 here. And we've sent some things because sometimes when you send things to them, it doesn't get to them. But that is one of the things because I met with the ambassador of India about 2 years ago. I think it was Valentine's Day, 14th of February, 2 years ago in London, the
Okay.
ambassador, Vikram. And we said, look, there's things we need to do because in America, in Europe, in Canada, we call it multicultural society.
Mm-hmm.
When you say multicultural, it means Africans, Asians, Japanese, which are Asians. You'd have Latin American, Caribbean, Arab. They are there. That's why you call them multicultural. But they don't relate with each other. They don't connect. So what are we talking about? So we call what is called the global South diaspora. So global South diaspora, which we're now asking Prime Minister Modi to lead, and we intended to have the event here. So we felt that if we can have a government like Prime Minister Modi, like India, to host all the diaspora from America, from Africa, from India, from Asia, whatever. I mean, Africa in the West, I'm talking about, Australia, whatever. Bring them together. Let's now create.
Something new.
We have the fund, we have the
Yes.
idea, right then diaspora, but create us a structure together so that we can even create what is called a diaspora think tank, the diaspora funding, whatever, so we can help because without us, there's not much developing. We know developing countries can do a lot, but they need us, those of us who are left,
Yes,
the shores over there can come back, not only coming back, can relate with our leaders in developing countries and make sure we can change things, turn things around.
Very
And I
true,
also
very
want to use the opportunity of Black Americans in
true.
America. The Black Americans, you could see, they also have to change their mindset about where they come from, Africa, Asia, whatever. If they start thinking about how they can also, because they're not unified, and unified to support such countries in developing countries, I could tell you then the world will start becoming even. Because when there's inequality, it affects everybody, whether you like, whether it's the West or even, it affects everybody. We're only looking for a unified world. And
Yes.
no organization can do it alone except we all come together with the same mind. And that's what we can go for.
Yes, very true. So I would like to tell our audience also a great message from sir. So sir, it has been a very good conversation with you and very informative. As a great message was given by sir that it is necessary to understand what children thinks. This is very much important to focus on their hobbies, on their passions. So try to understand as a parent, try to understand on your children the feelings of your child. So yes, thank you so much, sir, for
Thank you.
giving valuable time to us and sharing very much beautiful
Thank you.
experiences with us.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much and keep watching MSTV.
Thank you very much. And if you want to know, if I last minute,
Hmm.
is the Africa Asia Scholars Global Network, which is asgon.org, aasun.org. And if also we have what is called the Global South Economic Forum, which is gscfworld.org. There's a lot we all can do together. I know there are great people like you out there who also feel concerned about the state of this world. We've been told it's fractured. We can all see what is happening all over our world. Everybody is meant to contribute something. It's not about money. It's about trying to share ideas together. Even those who are doing a great job there, you can inspire them by trying to lend a hand to them. This world belongs to all of us, and we all have a right or duty to ensure that the children, the grandchildren that are coming out there, they have a better future than what we have. Thank you.
Very true. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Do connect with the Global Network.